Nothing you can do will ever compare to what they've done for us. But to do nothing is a horrible concept.
It's where we take 3 wounded veterans, Purple Heart recipients, and we take them on a deer hunt, and it's the best hunt we do all year.
Doing this hunt means so much to me. We're gonna have this hunt every year if it's the last thing we do.
You know, it's hard to figure out how to give back without feeling like you're patting yourself on the back.
I was very excited, actually. You know, this is something I've always wanted to do.
I go to banging the horns together, and it doesn't take 20 or 30 seconds, and Michael immediately says, I see a buck.
To see just the passion and the drive.
There are 3 roads that lead to the same destination. There are 3 players seeking to achieve one goal. Why do I hunt? It's who I am.
Where do I find the passion? It's in my blood.
How do I keep going? It's what I live for.
We are the Wildlifers.
You know, this week on Wildlifers, we're doing our annual hunt here at Mellon Creek Outfitters, and it's the best hunt we do all year. It's where we take 3 wounded veterans, Purple Heart recipients that Bill Carlson with Support U.S. Armed Forces selects. And we take them on a deer hunt, and that's what we're doing this week. After Harvey came through, we canceled our whole hunting season, and we got our lodge ready for this hunt, and we're excited.
We were very adamant about having that lodge ready so we could do this Purple Heart hunt, and the contractors did well. Insurance was phenomenal.
We worked so hard to pull that lodge into shape and get everything set up for these guys to feel comfortable in. This hunt is so important to me, and I would have done anything I needed to do to get it set back up so they could come.
Well, the veterans don't know this yet, but we've kind of got a special guest coming to help them with their hunt this year, and I know he's excited about it, and they will be too.
How you doing? Michael Waddell, good to meet you, man.
Bill Carlson, nice
yes,
to
sir.
meet you.
Glad to see y'all. What's happening, man?
Andy Robinson.
Andy
nice
Michael
to meet
Waddell,
you, Mike.
good to meet you
Hey,
too, yes, sir.
If you watch hunting shows, you know who Michael Waddell is. And after finding out that he wanted to come hunt with these guys and be in camp with them, you know, we offered him a chance to hunt as well. You know, that wasn't even the number one thing why he came was to come hunt. It wasn't to come hunt, it was to come hang out with the veterans. And that shows how good a guy he is.
Really, the only disappointment I had on the whole trip was they said, well, you're gonna be hunting with Dustin Mueller. I didn't want to go complain, you know, to like Stephanie and Dan have been so gracious, but.
You know, if anything, I'm his chauffeur, you know, to keep him from getting lost out here, because it's a big old ranch.
I was glad. I didn't know how Dustin was gonna be like, you know, hunting with me, because when I was here in 2010, he was green as a gourd and guiding T-bone.
So I was around Michael a little bit, but I wasn't in the truck with him. You know, and I know I had a blast with T-bone, and, you know, I'm thinking Michael's gonna be just as fun or even funner.
So I knew that Dustin probably wasn't gonna enjoy hunting with me as much as he did T-bone, because I didn't have near the snacks in my pocket.
We were driving one day, and he had like some kind of snack, and I said, man, you got some snacks? And he goes, you want some snacks? And he had more stuff in his pocket.
Look, that boy got some snacks now.
I'm Andy Robertson from Henderson, North Carolina. I was in the Army in 1970, got out in 72. I used to do a lot of deer hunting at home. We used to hunt when we were coming up, squirrel hunt, rabbit hunt.
My name is Kyle Johnson. I'm from Apex, North Carolina, and I was in the Marines. I was very excited, actually. You know, this is something I've always wanted to do. I do a lot of deer hunting back home, and sadly enough, I've never had any luck.
Kyle's going to end up going with Hagen, Andy's going to go with Richard, and I know everybody's excited to show them a really good time.
We hadn't been that long. We saw a 8-pointer came out, a 9-pointer came out, and a 10-pointer came out. The 10-pointer was a really nice deal. We watched them all morning that morning. They were young deals.
Hope I'm getting that buck fever out of the way.
And that was exciting, just sitting and watching the deals, and just to be able to sit and watch, and it was a great hunt.
Wildlifers is brought to you by Mellon Creek Outfitters, raising standards, not fences. Barnes Precision Machine, USA made with unmatched performance. Wise Eye Smart Feeders, feed the guest, zap the pest, shut out the rest. We are the Wildlifers. We can never understand what haunts these veterans' minds, but we can cause joy-filled experiences that make the horrors disappear for a moment.
This morning, me and Michael, we're going to the area where I've seen this big buck with these big splits, and he's real heavy, and there's been a lot of deer hanging out in that area. I want to sneak up there and hit the horns together and see what happens.
So I'm sitting here knowing that I'm after a big deer, but then all of a sudden we see this deer.
And as he comes in, I notice that, he's an old, mature deer, and he only has 8 points. And
Dustin said, "Man, that's a cull buck, we need to shoot him." And I said, "I agree."
This buck is locked in, and he's not coming in charging, running like sometimes I do, but he is definitely coming right towards us.
We just shot a big cull buck, and unbelievable. South Texas, man, we slept up behind this huge water tank and got to rattling.
Bam, Michael makes a great shot. He runs just a little piece over there. And
good way to start the old Mellon Creek veterans hunt.
This is a deer here, this is not the deer that we're looking for in here today, but this is what we call a management buck, and he's an awesome deer.
Yeah.
But he's not what I want to do all the breeding.
Dustin's like, "Man, that's a big mature, he needs to be shot." And so that is the magic, most fun, attractive words to a redneck from Georgia sitting on the ground with a .308. And here's the deal, growing up in Georgia, a cull buck at a place like the Mellon Creek is still a deer that in Georgia you could ride around for 2 days and show everybody in 2 counties. So therefore, that's why it's such a fun place to hunt.
We were driving the roads a little bit, and we saw a pair of nice deer. One of them, I think, was the one we were after in the first place, about maybe 1,000 yards away. And so Hagen brought his antlers, and we got out of the truck real quiet as could be, and started kind of hiding in the shadows along the tree line. And we were just walking to those 2 deer we were after. It was fun. I've never really got to walk up on deer. Back home, you just sit in a tree stand and just wait for them to come by. So we were going through the bushes, sneaking up on those other 2. The moment we stepped out onto the road into the opening, we see this monster just surprise us on the other side of the road. And there wasn't a whole lot of thinking to do about it, but he takes a closer look and he can tell it's an old deer. He's got a lot of white on his face, and he was smaller too, body-wise, but had a huge rack. and it didn't take long at all. Just set up the sticks and got down on one knee.
Red.
This segment is brought to you by Barnes Precision Machine, USA made with unmatched performance. Doing one huge deed is often impossible, but several small deeds can easily add up for a huge outcome.
Red.
One shot, right through the heart.
Boy, that's just a great big old mature buck.
He's thick.
You see how old he is right here in his face. Look at all this gray right here in his face. What a buck, man.
No joke.
Congratulations, buddy.
No, thank you.
You got it done. It hadn't been easy, but it paid off.
That was pretty cool. I mean, I didn't know how big he was because to scale it, I'd never stood up next to a deer that close. And there's a monster sitting on the ground in front of me.
Oh man.
It's hardly got any teeth left. I mean,
Yeah.
This deer's just old past his prime. You know, this deer was really and truly probably a better deer last year horn-wise.
Really?
And he's not passing on his genetics anymore, and that's what we're looking for and trying to manage these big South Texas whitetail.
You don't come into Mellon Creek with any preconceived notion. You come in knowing that the people and the service is going to be impeccable. You come in knowing that you know that great memories, great hunts are going to take place.
The deer's that's just a piece of it. But everybody being together and meeting new friends and, you know, talking to old ones. I mean, that's what hunting camp's about. That's why we want all these people together, is to create memories and friendships that last forever.
We go into this last, morning. Essentially, it's my last morning. Well, Dustin, definitely had several bucks that he had been seeing or scouted for, but in this particular deer, he was a big, nice 10-pointer with some kickers off his G2s and some splits, and so, that was the deer we was going after.
And I think this one deer that we're looking for lives in this area. So, I want to go set up, hit the horns together, and see what happens.
We're down to our last morning, so we're just trying to rattle a little bit. Try to get a mature buck out of these bushes.
We get to this spot that I think the deer lives close. I don't know how far, I don't know where he's bedding at, but I think he's in this area. And we get set up, and I get down in the brush, and
Right here, there's a buck. I think it's him.
I go to banging the horns together, and it doesn't take 20 or 30 seconds, and Michael immediately says, I see a buck. I'm talking to him, and he says, man, he's a big buck. He's got big beams, he's heavy. Then he says he's got splits on both sides. I'm like, he's got splits? Because the buck we're looking for has splits.
Well, we got to rattling, and all of a sudden this deer that we was hunting, here he steps out, and like he's facing us, and man, I'm worried he's gonna run off. He's about 70, 80 yards.
This buck comes right out into the opening, and I mean, he's looking right at us, and he's definitely a big, old, mature deer.
So I went ahead and just squeezed that trigger and just dropped him, and he folded like an accordion, just boom. That is a good buck, son. We dropped him like it's hot.
They're not moving, they're not coming to horns fast, but that one came.
He came quick.
We've rattled a bunch, and we haven't had a lot of deer just charging in, but he was coming to fight. This is his area, and he says, it ain't happening here, buddy.
Awesome. Yes. South Texas, baby. Mellon Creek, up there with the wildlifers, and man, that was awesome.
What day in the year are Purple Heart recipients recognized? A, November the 11th, B, May 28th, C, July 4th, D, August 7th. This segment is brought to you by Wise Eye Smart Feeders. Feed the guest, zap the pest, shut out the rest. Purple Heart Day is on August 7th, and it commemorates the day in 1782 when General George Washington created the Purple Heart Medal. That day is when a military decoration is awarded to those wounded or killed while serving in the United States Armed Forces. The most common cause of failure is fear of failure itself. If one simply refuses to quit, success will find them.
I mean, we saw him fall, and so this deer that we knew was this deer with the splits, turned out it wasn't even that deer at all. It was just a whole nother big mature 10 point.
Look at that big old 10 pointer. Yeah, that's not the one, but look, big old mature deer.
Yes, sir.
He's that's not the one with the splits, but look at
he doesn't have the splits.
Look, he's a warrior too. That's
buck.
actually even better, to be honest with you. To be honest, I'm glad he's even better.
And that's one thing about, when you're rattling, stuff happens so fast that you can miss a few things. Michael thought he saw splits through the brush, which it's not the same deer we were after, but he is a heck of a nice deer.
I've always said own your experience. If you see a deer you like and it makes you, trips your trigger, own your experience.
And I dumped him, but needless to say, it ain't the buck we hunting. He's still out here for a client, and I got a big, nice, mature Texas 10 pointer, so it was a win-win. It was a good day.
We were all at the lodge right after lunch, just kind of hanging out. The weather was bad, it was raining, and Dustin called and said, "Hey man, I've got a buck down here that looks pretty good. You might want to bring Andy down here."
So we took off up there real fast and got up there, and there was 3 or 4 nice bucks.
We finally get down there, and it's kind of raining, and luckily that buck stayed out there on the edge of that brush line, but we had to get over and across the fence so we could be legal.
But you pretty sure it was a good hit?
Yeah, it looked good, looked real good.
I took a shot, I saw the deer, jump. I knew I'd hit him, and you could hear the sound. Oh Lord, this is nerve-wracking. Hope we're in the wrong area because we hadn't found any blood.
Shot looked good. We came over here, we can't find any blood. We called Hagen, who's got a blood dog, which thank goodness Texas allows that. And we're gonna turn that dog loose and see if he can't get in there and find him. Hagen, don't go any further that way than right here.
Boy, it was about a 2 hour plus crawling through that thicket and trying to find the deer, and the dogs finally bayed and got him. How about that?
It's amazing how tough these old deer are, aren't they?
Quit out here.
You hit him low in the front leg right
Sure
here.
did, that's it, ain't it?
Yes, sir.
It would have been nice to have knocked him down, drove over, picked him up, put him in the truck. This made it more memorable, and it gave me even more respect for this Mellon Creek Outfitters and the people here.
But with a blood dog in Texas, that allowed us to harvest him, take him home and eat him, and you get to enjoy him. Without a dog, hey, this deer would have been coyote.
To see it and all, it really blessed me a lot, to see just the passion and the drive and them not giving up. No, we're gonna get that deer. Don't you worry about it, we're gonna get him. And,
congratulations on a great buck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you here this week.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure being here, and I told Bill, y'all can never understand what this means, what y'all have done for us. And
You know, it's funny, I think, you know, for me, you know, it's hard to figure out how to give back without feeling like you're patting yourself on the back. And so after spending the time I had with these guys and seeing how appreciative they were, you know, we were talking, and I heard the conversation. They was trying to figure out how they was gonna get the deer home, and could they fly them, could they do this, and so. The only problem we got left is figure out what to do with our deer heads. So I just wanna let you guys know, I've talked to Dan and Stephanie, and at least we'd like to do as a bone collector team is get them mounted so we can get them sent back to y'all so y'all can put them on your wall. Now, I can't negotiate with your wife on where to put them. Yeah. But we like, you know, myself and the bone collector crew would like to get them things mounted for y'all and get them back to y'all where y'all at.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. You know, when I had the opportunity to talk with Dan and say, hey, let the bone collector crew, let us pick up the taxidermy bills and, you know, make sure we can get these deer in their houses to always have something to remember.
Doing this hunt every year means so much to me. We're gonna have this hunt every year from now on if it's the last thing we do.
I truly feel like that it is each one of our duties to do something similar to this for these guys. And what we do, no matter what we do, it cannot compare to putting it all on the line for us. And we're only just beginning. We're going to do a lot more. Closed captioning by Vault Aviation, a different kind of whitetail.